He carried the child before dawn while the village slept, past the well where his wife had drawn water every morning, past the elder's house where they had been welcomed on the night of the storm, past the gates, down the long road that ended where the trees began. He didn't run, he didn't hesitate. He walked the way a man walks when he has told himself a story about why what he is doing is necessary, steadily, mechanically, not looking down at the thing in his arms that was glowing like a small warm star in the grey pre-dawn dark. The boundary oak, the oldest tree at the forest edge, its roots above the ground like a giant's hands, cradling the earth. He knelt. He placed the child carefully, and this is important. He placed him carefully into the cradle of the roots, and the child looked up at him, those dark, patient, ancient eyes completely calm, no crying, no fear, just waiting, as though he had expected this, as though this too was part of a plan that had been in place long before Dorak or the village or the road had ever existed. And then he was alone, the smallest possible vessel for the most enormous possible thing, lying in the roots of an ancient tree at the edge of an ancient forest in the last cold hour before dawn. He didn't cry. He lay with his eyes open, looking up at the sky the way only newborns and very old people look at things, without crippling, without naming, without needing the world to be other than it is. He was simply present, and he waited because he knew, in whatever way sacred things know that they know, that he would not be alone for long. They came from everywhere at once, from the deep forest, from the river valley, from the high ridge, drawn forward by something none of them could have named, but all of them felt a pull as irresistible and absolute as gravity. They came without rushing, without aggression, one by one at first, then two by two, then in a great quiet tide of dark fur and silver eyes, emerging from between the trees and filling the clearing around the oak. Dozens of them, all completely silent, all completely still, all looking at the same thing, the small glowing light in the roots of the ancient tree, and every single one of them knew, before they were close enough to see him clearly, before they could smell him or hear him, they already knew. Kyle came last, the alpha male, the oldest living wolf in Wolf Pack, grey black fur, silver tipped with the weight of more winters than any wolf should carry, a constellation of battle scars mapped across his great muzzle and eyes, the color of old gold that had seen everything this forest had to offer, and found all of it worthy of respect. The other wolves parted for him, not because they feared him, because they recognized that this moment, this specific moment, belonged to him. He had led this pack for 12 winters. He had carried the prophecy in his hole for 12 winters, and now he walked towards its fulfillment. The light came without warning. It poured from the child outward, white, clean, absolute, the same light his mother had carried beneath her skin her whole life, but fuller now, complete as if she had been carrying it for him, keeping it safe, delivering it to this exact moment and this exact place. And where the light touched each wolf, they stilled, and then they bowed, not in submission, not in defeat. They bowed the way the ancient world bows to what it recognizes as its own, one by one, beginning from the outer ring, moving inward like a slow and sacred wave. Every wolf in that clearing lowered themselves to the earth. Kyle was the last. He held the child's gaze for a long, eternal moment, and in that moment, everything the prophecy had promised passed between them like a river finding the sea. Then the greatest wolf who had ever lived in Wolfpack pressed his sacred ancient head to the cold ground, and the forest, for the first time in 1,000 years, was complete.